What is up, everyone? Welcome to L2R2, a PlayStation podcast. My name's Fonzie. I'm joined by my co-host, Indie Game Dev, and my UK bruv from another mum, Callum Monroe. Callum, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing well. Back to full health. And yeah, sort of we're a couple of weeks out from PS5, so I'm just trying to stay excited for that, which isn't hard to
Stay
do, but
alive.
yeah, 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 that's the hardest part to do. But yes, just same old. Got some good news to talk about this week, and yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, it's very close, man. Like it's what 2 weeks away for the States, and then you guys get it a week later,
Yeah,
right? So it's still either way, it's very close. I know some people are already getting the Dual Senses early or the Pulse headsets early too, and then online there's just a bunch of influencers and YouTubers
mhm,
showing everything now, and it's
yeah.
crazy how close we are, and now we're actually seeing the
Mhm.
box and seeing everything really.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we're pretty much there now. I know we haven't got it yet, but the fact people do have it, people, popping trophies, playing games, um, and yeah, it's very, very exciting. Like we were just saying about the PlayStation app, that's another sign that it's here now, that that's sort of been redone for PS5 and that. So yeah, really, really exciting, and it's just a nice refresher as well for some things like like your PlayStation trophy symbols and certain just little iconography things that we've become used to, sort of making minor changes just to sort of keep things fresh, I think.
Yeah, I think it's awesome. They have so much history now; they can lean on it, and that's what we'll get into later. But there's footage of that they've released for Astro's Playroom, and that's a whole thing, just a whole love letter to PlayStation, and using
Mhm.
all of the history and all the little iconography, and just leaning into that. And so I'm just super stoked to play that and to see more of
Yeah,
that. One
yeah.
thing that caught me off guard too was as it's been in people's hands, the console, a lot of the what looks like just texture on the sides of the white plastic on the fins, it's like really tiny little lasered sacred symbols in there, like the
Mm.
triangle and
Yeah,
square, and that's the actual texture, and I guess it's on the controller too.
yeah,
It's nuts. Like
yeah,
there's so much detail in there,
yeah.
and I just love it. And for as much shit as they get, which they deserve for how huge it is, there's still a lot of
Mhm.
detail, and there was a lot of thought in that design. When you
Yeah,
compare that to the Series X, where it's cool, but it's basically like a monolith kind of black tower, and it's just a bit more
mhm.
simple. And this one, there's a lot of love and care into how they
Yeah.
made this thing look.
Yeah, I think, it's easier for the PS5 to be divisive in how it looks because it is so different and, strange, but, yeah, I mean, you've got to use like you were saying about the tiny minute details, they're the kind of things that you see that separate, companies from others. You've got, like, if you look at cars, you've got, like, Jaguars, which, have, like, their hands stitched, like, sort of stitching in all the interiors, and it's those minute details that sort of really separate sort of companies from others. And I'm not saying Xbox don't have any of that. I think Series X looks nice, and they both have their own sort of benefits. But yeah, I mean those tiny little details do go a long way.
Yeah, and they're just going different directions because you could argue like the original Xbox or even the 360, those were way more of a we're making a stance, we're trying to say something by
Hmm.
how weird this thing looks, and
Yeah.
they went the other direction by making it more simple, more modern, and
Hmm.
PlayStation is kind of they're crossing paths really where they're going these different directions.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that original Xbox was such a weird, futuristic, I don't know, pile of garbage, but it was awesome, and it was just
Yeah.
monstrosity, but it was great.
Yeah.
And so like, but we kind of lost some of that wackiness, and PlayStation is a little bit trying to bring that back with the PS5.
Hmm. Yeah.
Now, Cal, we're actually a week away from, or a couple of days away from Halloween as well, and I wanted to get some info from you being in the UK. There's not a lot I know about Halloween in the UK, whether you
Hmm.
guys even celebrate it or not. I'm sure you do. I assume
Yeah.
so, but so I had some really dumb questions I want to ask you. One of them was candy corn, and this is very important because if we don't agree on this, I will have to shut this thing down right now and never talk to you again. With candy corn, I think it's the worst thing you could put in your body ever. I feel like it's an
Yeah.
abomination to everything that is right about the world. How do you
Hmm.
feel about candy corn?
Well, you're gonna love this because we don't get it over here. We don't get candy corn. Candy corn's not an option in the
I'm
UK. I
on
mean,
my
I'm sure
way.
you could probably, I'm sure you can probably get it if you really wanted to. But yeah, it's not a
Have you
thing
ever
over
tried
here.
it?
I have, yeah. I mean, as you know, I spent a year in California, so I sort of got to experience Halloween over in the States and got to eat lots of what is it? You have like your Hershey's and your Reese's and
Hmm.
your candy corns and that. And there's your dog.
Oh, hey, what's up, buddy?
That was almost like it was rehearsed. That was very good.
She thinks she's a cat. I think she was a cat in her past life because she'll just climb and sit on your head, and
Yeah.
yeah, she doesn't know what's going on.
But yeah, I mean, we do celebrate it, but I mean, from my experience with how you guys do it over there, it's on a much smaller scale. I remember the house that I was at in America. They spent ridiculous amount on decorations, and it was almost like another Christmas over there. I don't know
Oh
whether
yeah.
that's state by state or anything, but over in the UK, it's just an excuse for a piss up. Go out, get drunk, wear stupid costumes, get really sweaty and horrible, and go home about 3 in the morning and wake up probably in your costume, and then that's it really. But yeah, so we do celebrate it, just probably not as exaggerated as sort of over on your ends, which I suppose is probably similar for a lot of things, really.
Yeah, that's we always, we turn it up to 11 and blow it out the ass, really. But um,
Yeah. It's
yeah,
good though. It's
Halloween
fun.
is, yeah. I mean, it's pretty. Just like you explained, it is pretty big here, and I guess it does depend on your state, your city. Some
Mm.
people get really like sensitive because of the, I guess, demon stuff in there. I never saw it that way. I always thought it was fun. Like I never
Yeah,
thought at all like that it was
yeah.
weird. It was just like a fun thing.
Well,
But
no
yeah,
no one
dressing
even
up,
dresses up as scary stuff anymore. So I mean, demons are
right?
like Halloween's not even a scary thing anymore. I mean, you've obviously got the people who try and keep that theme, but people dress up as really stupid things that aren't remotely scary at all.
No,
So
yeah, it's just like your favorite character from whatever. Like it's not
yeah,
really, no
yeah.
one's trying to scare you. I do remember growing up trick or treating. I'd always obsess about my costume, get super excited for it, and then inevitably it'd be super cold, and so my mom would be like, "Yeah, that's cool. Put on this huge coat, and no one's gonna see your fucking costume. Let's go around the neighborhood."
Yeah,
It pissed me off so much, but it's just it always happened.
yeah,
You think I would have worked the coat into the costume somehow, but I never did. I was always trying to be like a
no,
vampire, but with
yeah,
a
yeah,
parka with a huge coat on. So
yeah.
yeah.
And the problem is as well, like, every time you get a Halloween costume, they're always made of like the crappiest, like thinnest
Oh yeah.
materials as well. So yeah, they're probably not the most thermal bits
No.
of clothing you can wear.
Yeah, it's just like plastic basically that you're wearing. But
Yeah.
yeah, I was very curious, Calmia, about Halloween there in the UK. I feel like
Mm,
it's really a global thing too. I don't know the history of it in super detailed fashion, but I want to say it has ties. Well, no, it doesn't have ties to America. I know it's a super old. It has like pagan stuff.
yeah.
There's like actual religious things tied to it
Yeah,
at the
yeah,
beginning of it. But
yeah.
yeah, I wonder how different countries celebrate it or avoid it
Yeah,
altogether. But
I mean, like I say, it's mostly just an excuse to dress up as something stupid and not have people think you're weird, and to get drunk, which is, what we love doing over here. So,
yep, sign me up.
yeah, but I guess I'm going to be a bit crap this year because I don't know if it's the same for you guys, but we're not allowed people of more than six to be in the same place, so
Yeah,
can't have any
same.
parties or anything like that, which is a shame. But we'll be able to. I'm sure there'll be lots of things to. I mean, like the picture you've got, you've got up here. I think there'll be lots of things to entertain us still.
Yeah, this was a pretty dope idea for a costume. I kind of
Yeah,
want to steal this. Just this guy dressing up as a PS5. Yeah, that is dope.
yeah, yeah. I think that'll be the
But
closest to a PS5 I'll probably get
you can just
this
wear
year.
that. Yeah, there you
Yeah.
go. Did you play anything this week?
Not too much actually. I actually watched Barbarians on Netflix, that new German
Oh, I
sort of
saw you
mini
tweeting about that.
series.
Yeah, I haven't checked that
Um,
out, or I'm not
Yeah,
familiar
it
with it.
was good. It was better than I thought it was going to be when I first started it. It's not a bad little watch, but other than that, I've been playing a little bit of Medieval.
Oh
I
yeah.
can't struggling to get on with it. Did a bit more of my Last of Us 2 playthrough as well. I finished my new game plus, but still somehow missed some collectibles. So I've got to go back and do chapter select. Um,
Mm.
and what I just literally just started before we came on here was I'm playing Dirt 5. Got a review copy for that for Tech Stomper.
Oh,
So I
nice.
can't really say much about it. I don't think I think embargo's like the 2nd of November. So So yeah, but I literally just started that, and so yeah, so I'll be playing that for the next sort of over the weekend, and have a write up for that ready for whenever the embargo is.
Now you mentioned you cut out a little bit, but you mentioned Dirt 5 was the game, right?
Yes, yeah. Sorry, yeah,
Gotcha. Are you
yeah,
how active were you with the other Dirt 5s or with racing games or the other Dirt series games
yeah.
and just like racing games in general?
Well, I used to love racing games. One of my favorite games was Race Driver Grid. I don't know if you ever played that one.
No.
But I'm into sort of like the more motorsport kind of like competitive racing kind of games. But I haven't played much of the Dirt series. I used to play a lot of the Colin McRae rally games, which I think are sort of the similar. I think even the same series. Um, but no, it was just nice. I mean, obviously writing for Tech Stomper, they asked for what to review it. It doesn't come out till the 6th of November, so it's quite nice being able to play it. Before it's out, it's always good fun.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've always thought it looks like a fun game, a bit arcadey at times. And obviously, being a dirt game, you've always got to sort of watch how you drive, and there's always a learning curve, which is always the best part about driving games for me. So, yeah, so I mean, I'm looking forward to giving that a playthrough. And I mean, I suppose it's sort of a next gen game, isn't it? So I'll be interested to see how that runs on my PS4 Slim. So, yeah, so I mean, like I said, I literally put it on for about 10 minutes, and so we'll have to see how that goes. But yeah, excited to jump into that one.
That's cool. Yeah, I really dug. I think I've played maybe Dirt 3 in the past, but I always think of this game and then it's Forza. One of the
Mm,
Forzas, I want to say it's Horizon or whatever that series where
yeah,
they go off roading and they go
hmm
with more of an open world kind of aesthetic. But I
yeah,
do enjoy these more than the traditional realistic driving sims. It's just fun to just kind of give you more freedom
mm,
to kind of mess up and to just it seems like there's more an emphasis on the racing on the action elements, I guess, like
hmm
just like the arcadey stuff. But yeah, this always intrigued me more than like say Gran Turismo or something like that.
yeah. I think you got it spot on. I played a bit of Forza Horizon, and it's a great game, but I think when it's open world like that, it gets boring very quickly. I mean, as soon as you have a
Mm,
fast car, there's not really much you can do. So I think it's important to play, I don't think linear is the right word, but a proper structured motorsport game or a dirt game, which has competitive racing where you actually have like progression, you have sort of something you're aiming for, and you can sort of go up the tiers and not just straight away soup out your car to be like 1,000 horsepower like in Horizon. So
right.
yeah, we're really looking forward to getting into it. I've been sort of wanting to get into a decent racing game for a while, so hopefully this will be it.
You know what? So this reminds me of a kind of forgotten driving game that had a lot of issues at the time, but Drive Club. Did you ever get to play Drive Club on
Mm.
PS4?
Yeah. I thought Drive Club wasn't a bad racing game, to be fair. I think I played it a little bit later into its sort of life, maybe when it was touched up a bit. But yeah, no, I remember having sort of pretty fond memories of Drive Club. I mean, it wasn't anything special, but I thought as a driving game it was pretty solid, and I thought the way it sort of focused on the social aspect was interesting, but maybe just not what people wanted at the time.
Yeah, same here. I do remember being kind of taken away with this is like right when the PS4 launched. One of the sizzle reels they had footage of Drive Club, and it was nuts for them to show the brain like physically
Mm,
moving and reacting to the actual direction your car is going, and the
yeah.
actual wind and the wipers wiping it away. I thought it looked crazy beautiful. So it was always on my radar. Then I got to play it, and while it was fun, it just didn't hold on to me as much, and it
Yeah.
wasn't the visuals couldn't just carry it all the way. And I know they
Yeah.
had issues with that multiplayer aspect to it, and yeah, those
Yeah.
social features you mentioned. And I always I just ended up falling behind, but
Yeah.
I won't forget those first impressions where I thought, man, this is the future, this is next gen, this is when the
Mm,
PS4 was launching, and
yeah.
it's just kind of it didn't do enough to keep going. And I know they closed that studio down, and I think
Mhm.
they've all kind of filtered out to other studios, that team. But
Yeah.
it was a bummer. It seemed like it could have been a cool new series, new entry with PlayStation aside from
Yeah.
Gran Turismo, because it really just have that to lean on, just the GT
Yeah.
series.
Yeah, I think again, I think for me, I mean, this is why Race Driver Grid's my favorite racing game is to have a sort of like meta sort of narrative in the background that sort of motivates you to keep playing, keep racing, keep getting better. Like in Grid, you had sort of seasons. So you'd be racing in one season. Each season would have season-specific standings with all these different AI competitors, and it just felt really like real, and it felt like you were actually part of like a sport. Um, and it was just really, really immersive in that way. And it's the same. I don't know if you ever played Need for Speed Shift, or I think Forza Motorsport does it similarly, where
Mm.
you have to go through the tiers of cars. So sort of your first lot of cars are, fairly weak, or the lower end of race cars, and then you sort of get better and better. And as you get better, you get better cars. And I think that that's the kind of thing you need. Whereas games like Horizon or even Gran Turismo, it's so easy to get an amazing car straight away. And as soon as you've got that like top car, then everything's unlocked for you in terms of the gameplay. And there's just not enough to push you through, really. I don't think that you need to have something to sort of aim for in these racing games, or for me personally anyway. And I think that's why a lot of them normally fall quite short for me.
Yeah, you need that carrot on the on the stick kind of thing where it's
Yeah.
enough to keep you going and not just shooting to the top right away. Yeah, there's
Hmm.
kind of a delicate balance. But I guess for those people that do want, hey, I just want that car and I
Yeah.
want to tweak it, I want to just race it over and over again. But
Yeah.
is that the majority? I'm not sure. So they kind of
Mm.
have to fit this
Yeah.
or find this balance, and
Yeah. Well, I
and
think you've got
it's not
like
easy.
car enthusiasts who love Forza Horizon because it means they can get all these like obscure old cars and tune them in really delicate ways that
Hmm.
only people like them would understand. Whereas I think if you've got people who enjoy playing racing games just because they're fun games mechanically, they've got a normal learning curve and process to learn, and different sort of mechanics and features to understand. I think from that perspective, which is how I sort of look at racing games, um, they need to have something that appeals to those kind of players as well. I mean, I don't know a huge amount about cars, but I love playing racing games. I love that progression system that so many of them offer, and I love, yeah, like you said, having that carrot dangled, and the satisfaction you get from, maybe beating a particular AI racer that keeps beating you before, or anything like that. And yeah, I think that there's definitely racing games that probably still do that, and I'm just hoping that that's sort of going to be more of the same, especially with games like the new Gran Turismo. I hope that the new Gran Turismo really hones in on its sort of like meta narrative, because I think that's been lacking in the last two.
Gotcha, gotcha. Yeah, we'll see. You know what I did play a little bit of, and I was messaging you the other day, was Dead Space on
Mm,
Dead Space 2 on PC,
yeah.
and I was just kind of blown away with how beautiful it looks. I mean, it's a what 10 plus year old game, I guess
Hmm.
now, and God, it looks awesome. It still holds up. It's playing on, or it can run 60 frames per second. It even supports 4K for some reason, so it looks awesome just right out of the gate.
Yeah.
But man, I was just taken away with how awesome that intro level is, and how they just throw you right into the
Mm,
action. They understand fully, like the second time around, what they want, the mood they want to kind of come across with, and how they let you just jump into it, and not with a
hmm.
whole lot of just a whole lot of waiting. You can just kind of really
Yeah.
start with the scares and with the action. And man, I
Yeah.
love that game, and I'm trying to make my way through it and just fully, because I haven't finished this game really since it launched years ago. So I'd love to jump
Yeah.
back in and fully complete it. But it's
Yeah.
dope, really, really dope.
Oh yeah, they're just brilliant games. I've never actually played the third one all the way through, but the first two I've played, many times. And yeah, I mean they're some of the best horror games that you can get even now. I mean, I don't think many things have really rivaled them, to be honest. Especially the first one. I mean, I bought a PS3 quite recently just so I could play the first one and get the trophies on it. I've got them both on PC, but I wanted to try and get the platinum on the first Dead Space. And
Yeah.
even playing that on PS3, it still holds up. It runs absolutely fine. It looks really nice. It plays so well. It's such a like brilliantly well designed game, and how it feels to play, and the combat is really well tuned. And yeah, awesome games. They need a remaster. It's really sad the way they've just been abandoned, but yeah, absolutely brilliant series. And Dead Space 3 is a game that I really really want to play again, or play again, actually play. So hopefully I'll get to that as well, because I'm sure, despite the negativity it got, I'm sure it's still worth a go.
Yeah, I agree with you on Dead Space 3 because at the time it had a lot of negativity because they were going for, I guess, even more of an actiony kind of vibe, and then you had the co-op mode too, which just took away from the scares, from the
Mhm.
tension, and it just and there I guess there was a little bit of fatigue at that point, so it definitely had a negative effect. But maybe
Yeah.
if we were to revisit it, it's not as bad. Maybe we can actually separate from that feeling at the time.
Mhm.
But I know when they showed off what they were showing off, it just kind of it wasn't for me. I was like, I really wanted
Yeah.
something more in tune with the first one. The second one,
Yeah.
especially, was maybe it's probably my favorite one. But
Yeah.
in general, yeah, EA still owns the rights to it, to the license to it, and they're
Mhm.
just sitting on a gold mine. It's like, hey, if not
Yeah.
a new entry, at least remaster this thing. This is prime to be remastered.
Yeah, yeah, I've no idea why it hasn't been done, and hopefully we'll see something at least with PS5 because I mean, not to I know I mention it pretty much every week, but there's other series like Resistance that could also do that was missed out in PS4,
Yep.
Mass Effect, which looks like it's probably coming now, but there's still lots of game series that were missed completely missed a generation, so maybe PS5 will be the time to bring those back. You don't know. I mean, optically, I'm not sure whether there's a point in starting these projects that might be in some sort of pipeline because of obviously next gen coming. So hopefully we'll see more of these things re-released and more accessible for people, who don't have a PC to play these older games and or people like me who just want to get trophies on these on these old games.
Right. Especially with considering the huge success that Capcom's had with Resident Evil 2 remaster and then
Hmm.
the third or the remake rather, it's I mean they can the proof's already out there. They've seen that Capcom has made a success financially with these remasters, so there's nothing really holding them back. There shouldn't be any hesitation because they can see that they'll make that whatever they're going to
Yeah,
invest back into it. So I don't know what they're doing, and I
yeah,
hope that they are having meetings about this and not just going to forget about it because it's
yeah,
just such an awesome franchise,
yeah.
and they really nailed it with that first go. It's hard to make a successful franchise out of the gate. They did that with Dead
Mhm.
Space, so
Yeah,
don't let go of those ideas. If this were a movie, this would already be on the fifth remake. Like they when the
yeah,
movie industry, they just when something works, they just work it to death. And in the
yeah,
games industry, it's like that doesn't always happen. Sometimes stuff still gets
yeah.
forgotten.
And I mean, you say about Capcom and their success with these remakes, that they wouldn't even need to do anywhere near that effort. I mean, just re-releasing
Sure.
it, so it can take advantage of the new hardware. Maybe better texture detail, higher frame rates. That's all they need. Like I said, I'm playing it on PS3, which is probably at what 720p more than likely.
Right.
Um, Ran absolutely fine. I had no problems with it at all. Looked really nice, and I did actually have some audio problems where if you're sort of facing a certain way, you wouldn't be able to hear the audio because I know it
Hmm.
uses like 3D spatial sound, and there was some problems with that. But that might just be to do with newer TVs and older hardware. So, but other than that, I mean, it ran really well, and that was on PS3. So I mean, playing it on PC is of course, I mean, that's what it would look like if it was to be remastered. So. Yeah, I mean the proof's in the pudding there, and I hope that they act on it soon.
Yeah. Same. Because that's what a beautiful game, and yeah, they need
Yeah.
to get back on it. Come on. Alrighty, Callum. So yeah,
Yeah.
as far as we can jump into some of the news, and we got some cool new footage of various games this week. This first one was interesting. So this is Astro's Playroom. So Digital Foundry has the PS5 gameplay, and they go into depth on it. We can just kind of scrub through and talk over it. But I wanted to get
Mhm.
your take on just looking at some of the footage. And I just watched this last night, but they're still under various embargo elements with this game for some reason. They can only show off the it's like the cooling springs part of this game, but it's
Mhm.
what a lot of people thought was previously like just a tech demo to show off the DualSense. It seems like it is that, but it's mainly an actual game. Like it's that
Mhm.
same team that did the Astro series, the last one, anyways,
Yeah.
and it's like a fully fledged out game. And there's a lot of ways to show off the DualSense, but it's also a fun platformer. But what do you
Yeah.
think? Kind of checking out the gameplay.
Yeah, I think it looks good, and I played, the Astro, Rescue mission on VR that came with the PlayStation VR as well as
Oh,
a
did you?
sort
I've
of,
heard that's really good.
yeah, it's a great game, and similarly to this, I expected it just to be some tech demo kinda thing, but I mean, there is a really good game in there, and it looks like it's just the same thing here. Um, but yeah, I think it looks like a great little. I mean, the PS5 already comes loaded with free games. I mean, which we'll get into later probably, but even with the
True.
PlayStation Plus collection, which they seem to have snuck in the Crash Bandicoot Insane trilogy onto there now as well. Um,
I saw that they had
you know,
added two more games. I didn't realize that was one of them. Nice.
yeah, yeah. I'm not sure what the second game was, but yeah, I'd seen that they'd added that on, and obviously having this for free straight away, it just looks like a great little launch lineup just to dive straight into. And I don't know if you've noticed as well. I suppose kind of a little bit off skew, but um, very, as PlayStation do very quietly, the news that a lot of these games are going to be running better. News now that Bloodborne will be playing at 60 FPS and higher res, and all these other games. It looks like PlayStation just aren't bothering to, for some reason, to market this and say, all these games are going to be boosted. It just looks like
Right.
it's kind of like we have to find out for ourselves, which seems to be PlayStation's marketing plan so far, anyway. Um, so yeah, I think it looks like good fun. Just another great title to try out when we get our PS5 finally.
Yeah, and I love, I mentioned earlier, all the different Easter eggs and callbacks
Yeah.
to everything PlayStation. I know at one point your little characters, your Astrobot is zipping around the water, and you see these little characters that are basically Kratos and his son just on a boat.
Mm, yeah.
And it's just like little things like that, and you can
Yeah.
unlock fully detailed like models of the PlayStation Eye toy little camera
Yeah.
or a PS3. Like it's just everything is just fully packed in this game with
Yeah.
just love letters to
Yeah.
PlayStation, and it's awesome.
Yeah, yeah, really cool little game. I mean, I don't know for sure whether I'll end up really playing it, but it looks like it's probably going to be a much better experience than a lot of people expected it to be.
Right. And it's really cool for just the aspect of getting familiar with the features or what the DualSense can do, as far as like giving you a sense of here's what the triggers can do, here's what the how the haptic feedback feels like, and maybe rather than playing a game and waiting for those features to be kind of used, you can
Mhm.
jump into this playroom and then just actually have a level that's focused on the triggers and kind of playing around with that, or focus on the haptic
Yeah.
feedback. It's an interesting idea, but yeah, I don't know how much I'll be playing this. I might just kind of jump into it and then go into most likely Miles. That's what I'm super excited for. But
Hmm.
it's still really awesome, and I'm glad people are. It seems like they're really positive on it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, just sort of saying about what we're excited for. I really don't know what I'm gonna play first because I've got my eyes obviously on Spider-Man. Demon Souls looks great, um, and Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Obviously, I'm really excited for. So it's just going to
Yep.
be a really exciting time. It's going to feel like when you're a kid at Christmas and you get bought like a few games and you don't know which ones to play first. So it's going to be a nice. It's always nice that next gen feeling because it does sort of bring you back to like when you're a little kid getting your new console and having all these fresh new games that are all new and sparkly. So yeah, really really exciting, and yeah, it's looking great.
Yes, agreed. You mentioned Demon Souls, so let's get into some of the gameplay. There was a gameplay trailer they released today, showing off some new gameplay. And you would think that I would have had that video ready to go. Oh, I did. Okay, cool. So I do have it. I see. And so it looks like a more of an extended, not really a trailer, but like an extended gameplay. And I just, kicked it off from the start. You're on these little wood wicker kind of situation underground and like some kind of mine situation, but they're showing off the lighting first off, and it looks nuts.
Hmm.
Um, I think it's hard to tell sometimes when ray tracing is enabled or it's just like their global illumination stuff. But
Hmm.
lighting for sure looks awesome right off the bat with this
Yeah,
gameplay.
yeah, it looks buttery smooth as well. Looks, I mean, it just
Yes.
looks amazing. Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a big one, and I think it's going to, blow a lot of people away. And I'm really, really excited. I love, the sort of Souls kind of games. I know Demon Souls is very different, um, allegedly. So I'm looking forward to sort of seeing how that works. And yeah, I mean, the sort of the satisfaction you get from these kind of games as well is great, and I think it really benefit from being a launch title.
I am hoping that the very little I've tried of this style of gameplay, say with like a Bloodborne, it never
Mm,
clicked with me, and it was always just super hard. and
Yeah.
frustrating. But I always wanted to play because the worlds were so detailed and beautiful, and the enemies were so creepy and scary. And this one, the same thing. I'm hoping that I can actually play this game and not
Hmm.
just get pushed out with the difficulty. So I don't know if they're going to offer
Yeah.
much of an option. I don't think that's their whole vibe. It's definitely
No.
that a
Yeah.
punishing series. So I think they
Yeah.
would just laugh at me if I asked for a baby mode. But I would
Yeah.
like a baby mode, please.
I think as far as I know, because I've got a friend who played the original when it came out. I think it's meant to be a little bit more approachable than maybe some of the newer games. I mean, I'm sure it's still going to be very very hard, but yeah, like I said, I think it being a launch title might be a little bit better because it will be a new exciting thing that might sort of spur you on to get past that, that brick wall that a lot of people say there is in
Mm,
these games that you need to just
yeah.
get through. And as soon as you do, that's you hooked. Because they're all learnable. I mean, they're very hard, but same with Sekiro. I mean, I didn't play that much until I got to a certain part where it just clicked, and everyone says it's the same with Bloodborne and the Souls games. So hopefully, the excitement of this, looking how as amazing it does and being so new and next gen will allow more and more people to give it more of a chance and get through to that part where it clicks.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm hoping. I think I'll wait to see some what the reviews say if it is more approachable or it's still just
Mhm.
as hard. And but you're
Yeah.
right, where because this thing is new and maybe it will kind of force me. I'm sure it's because I can handle somewhat difficult games, or at least I have been able to in the past. It's more of just getting used to mechanics and
Mhm.
learning and kind of sticking with it. And so it is that personal hurdle everyone has to go through
Yeah.
to get through it. And I just want to fast
Yeah.
forward to where I'm over that because I want to be in love with these games. It's
Yeah.
just the work of getting through there is
Well,
is
and hopefully,
frustrating.
having these super fast load times, it means when you die, hopefully we put straight back in, so that might help as well. Not that I
Yep.
can really remember there being necessarily terrible loading times in the other ones, but I mean it's the same. We saw it in the is it Godfall, the loading time in that when you die, and I think that's going to be a big thing for a lot of people because I know me personally, I hate loading screens, especially when you die and you're trying to redo a boss fight or something. That's a
Yep.
huge turn off for me is having to wait every time I die. Yeah, I mean, again, the sort of next gen experience, not even talking about visuals, I think may help as well, make this a bit more approachable.
That's very true. Yeah, really using that horsepower now that we can use
Hmm.
for these consoles.
Hmm.
Alrighty, Callum. So yeah, we got that. And then there was some news on the PS5 pre-sales that Sony's releasing. So we got PS5 has pre-sold as many consoles in the first 12 hours in the US as in the first 12 weeks for the PS4, says Sony. This is Sony SIE president and CEO via press release. We're working as hard as we can to ensure supply for the year-end shopping season. Sony is aiming to shift more than a shift, or I think ship is what they're trying to say. Ship more than 7.6 million PS5 units by the end of March 2021. As reported by Bloomberg, the Japanese company has surpassed analysts' expectations and raised its profit outlook by 13% ahead of the launch of PS5 in November. That was key courtesy of Jordan Allman of IGN. And we have another little blurb here. The manufacturer's current flagship system, the PlayStation 4, shipped 1.5 million units in the 3 month period ending on the 30th of September 2019, or 2020 rather, meaning its life to date sales currently sit at 113.6 million units. So there's a lot in that chunk, but really they ended on
Hmm.
the fact that people are still buying the PS4 even as they have the whole PS5 advertising going on this last three months here. But looks
Hmm.
like they're on set to make a bunch of these pre-sales. I mean, they've sold as many pre-sales in the first 12 hours as the first 12 months of the PS4 with the PS5. So that's
Yeah.
awesome. That's good to hear.
Yeah. It's
I
it's really
just
really cool, and it just makes me scared because I just want one, and
right.
I hope there is one for me when they come out.
Yeah, with all this news of like they're on track to sell so much and they're ready to
Yeah.
ship as much, it's not translating to getting in everyone's hands though. There's still so much
No.
demand, so they have a lot of work to do
Yeah.
to fill that void. Is there any update in the UK as far as you've heard of various at least retailers, if not Sony, getting
No,
pre-orders going?
we had Currys. They fulfilled. They put their stock back in, but they only what they basically did was they made the price of the console £2,000. And then what they would do is they would send codes out to their most loyal customers, which when they go to check out and they put the code in, it discounts the 2,000 down to the normal price to try and stop, stock from going so quickly.
I
And if
see.
someone decided to pay the 2,000 anyway, they would just refund them and not commit the sale. So I think it's
Huh.
quite a clever way to do it. I think I wish more places sort of did it that way, but at the end of the day, it's going to be mental regardless. So I don't know. I can't imagine there's probably going to be any more chance to pre-order until they're actually out now. So I think my best bet is to get up early and go to the big stores around me, and hope that I
Yeah.
can be first in, first out with a PS5 under my arm.
Yeah, I mean, now waiting in line is going to be tough with how huge and heavy this thing's going to be. So you're going to have to bring a
Mhm.
buddy or somebody to spot you to
Yeah.
kind of take
Well,
this
I'm
thing
getting a
out to your car.
digital, so I'm hoping that will
That's
be
true.
a bit
A
better.
little bit
And
lighter,
and
tiny bit.
And I haven't seen any because, like you said, there's lots of PS5s out there now with all the reviewers and influencers getting them, but I haven't seen any digital ones. So
You're right. I
I'm
noticed
even
that as
more
well.
excited. I'm even more excited to get one because it's kind of like an even newer thing because that I haven't even seen one in the flesh yet. So, um,
I was
but
wondering. I was just saying, I was wondering why, because I noticed that aspect as well, where a lot of these
mm,
YouTubers, influencers have the disc model, but I wonder why Sony decided to send that one out. They're also more expensive, so if they're,
yeah,
and I think all these different outlets get to keep that said console, so why send them the
mhm,
more expensive one? And I wonder
yeah.
if it's just they're more focused on selling those. I don't know, but I did notice that.
Yeah, I think, they've made a lot more of the disc one, so I think that is probably they're hoping that that's gonna be the bulk of what they're gonna sell, so maybe they're just doing that to, have people forget about the digital edition or something, I don't
Sure.
know, but, I certainly haven't forgotten about it being £100 cheaper, so, I'll
Yeah.
I'll I'll definitely be getting one.
Yeah, same. That's the one.
Yeah.
Alrighty, Con. We do have some more news about the PS5 and the launch window. I was listening to a podcast recently where they're talking about, I want to say it was like a kind of funny one. They're wondering how long until we get PlayStation Plus free games that are PS5 games, and what would the wait be, and how would they work that out
Mhm.
because it's such a new system. And we finally got our answer. So we got Bug Snacks will be free for PlayStation Plus members on PS5 launch. This is from VentureBeat. Mike Minotti, developer Young Heroes, announced today that Bug Snacks will be free for PlayStation Plus members when the PS5 launches November 12th. We already knew that the indie game was going to debut alongside the PS5, but now we know that it will be the console's first PS Plus free title. Bug Snacks is a game about, well, bugs that are also snacks. So if anybody had any question about what was going on there, but how do you feel about them using this game, choosing to be the first one out of the gate for a free PlayStation Plus game for PS5?
Yeah, I think it's really cool. I obviously I've seen Bug Snacks and the trailers and whatever, and I always assumed it was kind of like a Spore game, but I don't know if that's true or not. But yeah, it makes I'm sure there's a lot of people that weren't going to pick it up with the launch library looking as good as it does. Um, so yeah, it's a good way to get it into people's hands and get people talking about it, and it's a great way to start a franchise as well out of nothing, is to give everyone the first one for free, and then they can build on that from there. Same with like what will happen with Rocket League
Hmm.
and things like that. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see. I might actually play it now.
Right. I think I want to say Resogun was a similar situation where, if not
Mhm.
at launch, it was very early in the PS4's life, and it was
Yeah,
I want to say it was on PlayStation Network. I want
yeah.
or PlayStation Plus rather.
Hmm.
But yeah, that's a great way to do that, and it's a brilliant idea to lean on the indies for this first part here because there isn't a lot. There's nothing under the belt right now with PS5 because nothing has came out yet. So if you can
Hmm.
lean on those games to still provide a PS5 presence for PlayStation Plus until
Yeah.
you get something more enticing that's an actual like PS5 quote unquote game to put on PlayStation Plus.
Yeah, I think it's another great month as well for Plus. I think that's 2 in a row now that have been, spot on, with Shadow of War and Hollow Knight as well. I think, again,
Right.
Shadow of War is another game where people may have forgotten about it, or I mean, I had it on disc and I haven't played it since it first came out, and I enjoyed it, but just never finished it. So, I think that's another sort of fairly niche game that maybe people never got round to buying, or maybe they tried it and didn't finish it or something like that. And obviously Hollow Knight speaks for itself. That's a game with big credentials. But I think again, that's another game that a lot of people might not have bought because it might not be their kind of game. I remember it came out in quite a packed time. So I think both are brilliant, brilliant games to put on a service like PlayStation Plus. And yeah, I'm hoping for, three in a row. If we can get three good PlayStation Plus months in a row, then something must be. I think the world must end or something.
Yeah, or they bring the Vita back. Vita 2 confirmed
Yeah.
after that.
Yeah, it'll probably be like FIFA 19 and Madden 14 or something as the next ones.
Yeah, pretty much. That makes me think about the future and how they kind of will start rolling out or continue rolling out the PlayStation Plus games. I
Mhm,
think what throws not a wrench into the situation, but another fold into everything is the classic collection. I'm forgetting the name, but the PlayStation Plus
mhm,
classics or originals, where it's those PS4, that gambit of games, where they've just added two more to it. So it's like 20 total that you get for free. Well, if you have PlayStation Network on your PS5, if you have PlayStation Plus, rather. So the
mhm,
fact that they have that, it's a full list of games that it seems like they're not going to rotate in and out. It's going to be that list of games. Do they go forward with PlayStation Plus? Maybe adding games and keeping them there, sort of like Game Pass. How they have the Game Pass still loses games every once in a while, but they have
mhm,
that huge list of games. I wonder if PlayStation Plus going forward, since we have all these PS4 games that have been out for a long time, they've already been on PlayStation Plus. What if you can
mhm.
start to add them and keep them there? And well, as I think about this concept, really with PlayStation Plus, as long as you download the game, I mean, and you keep the service, it's already yours. So it's
Mm,
really not the same thing at all. It's just as I think
mm.
about it, being the dumb AI am, I'm going, oh yeah, it. Really is that you keep the
Yeah,
games as long as you don't delete them, then you're fine.
yeah. Yeah, I think that's the problem because in an ideal world, you'd want PlayStation Plus and PlayStation Now to combine. But I think you bring up a good point where PlayStation Now, similarly to Game Pass, has games come off of its service, and then you can't play them even if you downloaded them. Um, so if they were to combine the two, I don't know how that would work unless they like backtracked every single PlayStation Plus game there's ever been and just added them to the PS Now library or something. I don't know, but
Right.
um, yeah, I don't know. I think there's probably still. I mean, with PS5 being 99% compatible with every game, and we've seen the list of the games that aren't compatible. You can pretty much say with certainty that every PS4 game is compatible.
Yeah.
Um, I think there's still a lot of games that can be offered in that sort of window where it's probably a bit early to offer any PS5 games. Um, and having the boost for these games, which is looking more and more likely that it's going to be across a lot of games, is going to make them even more um, you know attractive to people. Because if you think about it, on the same lineup as Bugsnax, you got Shadow of War and Hollow Knight. Those can both be played on your PS5 as well. So I mean, I don't think they're gonna stop with the PS4 games because you'll be able to play them on your PS5 either way. And seeing 1.5 billion PS4s are still being bought, I don't think that ecosystem's going anywhere anyway. So I think we've got enough games and enough time to create this sort of backlog on PS5 games and be able to offer native PS5 games eventually on Plus as well. But yeah, ideally you'd want the two services to combine.
And now remind me, Callum, that PlayStation Classics feature, I'm still blanking on the name, with all the classic PS4
Mhm.
games, the 20 of them, that roster, is that only on PS5 or is that available on PS4 for PS4 owners?
I don't actually know, to be honest. I'm not sure. I don't know whether that's a PS5 thing or not, but yeah,
Because you'd
I'm not
think
100% sure.
if they do at this point in the life cycle, if they do want to keep selling, which I imagine they do, PS4s because they're just out in the
Mhm,
wild, why not make that a part of that PS4 ecosystem? So if people are on the fence, they jump into the PS4, they have all the classic games, and
mhm.
it's just another incentive to get you to buy either a PS4 or PS5, but something in that Sony ecosystem. So I wonder if it just behooves them to just keep a PS5, or they'll still make a couple bucks if they get someone to jump into the PS4 with that whole list of classic games, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. I didn't even think about that. I mean, it could be that it's there to try and give PlayStation 5 a bit of a leg up.
Right.
So maybe they don't want to, share that across the PS4 as well. But that'd be a great get for, those 1.5 million people who have just bought a PS4. be a great get for them, and those people who are just waiting a few months for the PS5 gives you lots of things to play in the meantime.
Yep, yep. We will see how that goes. Callum, we got some more PS5 launch window news. We got the PS5 launch game Destruction All Stars delayed to February. Will launch on PS Plus. So this was announced a couple of days ago here. And we'll get into the actual article. We got Joe Scrubbles of IGN. PS5 launch title Destruction All Stars has been delayed to February 2021 and will be released as a PlayStation Plus free game. Announced on the PlayStation blog, the move has been motivated, at least in part, by ensuring the multiplayer game has an audience. The game seems to mix destruction derby mechanics with some measure of on-foot action with a series of different cars and heroes to choose from. It's one of the PlayStation games launching at a new higher price point of $70 US, meaning that the new free as part of PS Plus price looks pretty appealing. How do you feel about this, Cam? I feel like this is a good decision because this one was kind of getting forgotten about, especially if they're going to require a full price, full retail price for this game. I think it was
Mhm.
going to be a bit rough, and especially a game that depends on an ecosystem, players to play together. So, yeah, I think it was
Yeah.
a smart move. But what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's a smart move for I think the guys who have made it, definitely. I don't think it was gonna do I think it was kinda being left to die at £70. Like you say, it doesn't come across as a game that's necessarily worth that or is a next gen AAA experience. I mean, it might be, who knows? But I think looking at the guys who made it, their track record, I mean, the last game they made was Need for Speed Payback, which is
Mm,
probably why it was free on Plus last month, to be honest. But don't think that did too well. But teams are always learning from their projects, and it might be a great game. I think the fact it's free, you can't really talk negatively about it, to be honest, until we try. It could be another Rocket League. You
sure.
never know. So yeah, I'm glad that it's going to be free. I mean, I love free games, so no complaints there. But yeah, I think it's a smart move, like you said. And yeah, £70 for this is a bit of a stretch, but we'll see.
Yeah, I don't know if we've really seen any exciting gameplay either yet at this point. So I was kind of
Mm,
worried about that going forward. But yeah, especially a game where you need a huge pool of people to matchmake with to play. You need a community, and so if it's you're already tied to only PS5 owners, and then those who are willing to pay the full retail price, you're going to have 20 people who are going to be ready to play
mhm.
this game at launch. So I think
Yeah,
if you can make it free, that's the way to go. And then
yeah.
because I think that deal goes away at some point, and then so you can
Hmm.
still, if you build a community, you can still get full retail price from people in the future and all the cosmetics and
Hmm.
stuff. So yeah, if they really believe in this, I think this is the way to go, just to build that community.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's interesting you say that as well because I mean, these early PS5 games, if someone doesn't get their PS5 in November because it's sold out or whatever, they're not going to be able to get Bug Snacks for free,
That's true.
which is a shame. But yeah, so I mean, what's this February? This one's free, so
Yeah.
hopefully, um, the majority of people will have or at least be looking into getting a PS5 by then. So but yeah, like you said, there's still gonna be a lot of people that haven't got one in February. So
Right.
this isn't gonna stop them from making money on this game. I'm sure there'll probably be microtransactions and things and DLC maybe, but February is still very early. There's going to be a lot of people who are going to miss out on this and still have to pay full price for it. And being free on PlayStation Plus is going to give it such a great platform for people to talk about it and maybe tempt either people who sat on the fence or people who just didn't care about it into actually buying it when they get their PS5. So yeah, it's a great move.
Yep, I agree. So, Callum, we got some more PS5 stuff. This is just more cosmetic things we've been curious about, and it looks like there's a company that's already starting to sell
Mhm.
this. So, this is a custom PS5. Yeah, custom PS5 covers are already a thing. This is from Engadget Steve Dent. Like the proverbial Model T, the PlayStation 5 will launch in any color you like, as long as it's white. If that doesn't match your decor or taste, a company called Plate Station has unveiled a series of third-party colored plates that make your console look a little different. You can tint your PS5 in chromatic silver, cherry red, black, blue, or jungle camo. To install them, you presumably pop off the PS5's existing white plates, as shown in the PS5 teardown video, much as you'd do to upgrade storage, and pop on the replacement plates. Note that the product is not associated in any way with Sony or PlayStation brands. You can see all the plates covers here. So there's quite a bit of them. Yeah, and they look very dope. and I didn't pull the price for what they're going for. And when I actually went to the website this morning, it's just telling me that it can't be found. Like, I don't know if the website was
Yeah,
taken down or
yeah,
if
I was just
Sony
about
had
to
some kind
say
of
that.
legal
Yeah.
stuff. I wonder. But this is you can sell third party thingamabob. So like, I don't see how this would
Mhm.
infringe on Sony's copyright. But there's something going on that would remove this site.
Yeah. Yeah, it's strange, and I think it's weird as well because it's I mean, it's different now, but when this was first announced, the console wasn't even out. So
Right.
it was kind of weird for this to just pop up out of nowhere. So yeah, I think if I was to be, you know, working for PlayStation or something in that sort of degree where it would be my job and responsibility to look at this kind of thing, I think you probably would have some issue with it because the console's not even out yet, and someone's trying to capitalize on your product, which is in a capitalistic world, which we unfortunately live in. That's just not something that they'll probably want to do. They probably have their own plans for custom plates and
Oh,
will
I'm
want to
sure.
charge you an arm and a leg for them. So, but if that doesn't happen, then that's really cool because I mean, what are they $40 or something,
Yeah, I want to
which
say it
isn't
was
too
around
bad.
there. No.
So and they look really nice as well in the photos. So yeah, I think it's a really, really cool idea. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if PlayStation have had to step in and do some business with them.
I think that might be what's going on. And if
Yeah.
not for the aspect of whatever copyright that they might be messing with, also since this thing, you're right, it's not out yet. So I think they're kind of assuming they will be able to figure out or wait until the console releases and then get a copy of the fins and then
Mhm.
duplicate it. But I imagine they're hoping or they're ready to create production based on those designs, but they don't have the actual blueprint yet. They're still waiting to
Yeah.
do it. So they're almost like promise you something based on the data they don't have yet, based on what
Yeah.
the actual connectors on that fan or that those fins and how it snaps in. So
Yeah.
they're selling you something based on the fact that they don't really have the actual thing to make yet
Yeah.
or the actual
It's how
schematics
how
yet.
are they gonna get them anyway? Because I mean, like you said, there's so much detail on them with the little, the PlayStation buttons, button prompts on the sort of lasered into the things, so
Hmm.
it's not like they can just I mean, maybe they can, I don't know if they can just 3D print these things to be exactly the same but I don't know, unless that they were able to, find a crashed lorry full of these
Yeah,
on the way to a factory or something, but, yeah,
that's the
I
only
don't
way,
know.
really.
Yeah, I don't know how they would have, so many of these in stock unless they were talking to Sony beforehand, so
Right.
I don't know. We'll find out hopefully.
Yeah, it's strange. It's strange, but we'll see what they if that site ever comes back to life or if they've
Yeah.
assassinated those people now. I'm not sure. Who
Yeah.
knows?
Yeah, they might be
Uh,
dead.
they might be dead. So we got a new PlayStation app adds voice chat and better store and more. So we got an update to the PlayStation app on phones. This is Joe Screbble and IGN. Sony revealed an updated version of its PS app, which will roll out on iOS and Android today. The update brings a new design, a native PS Store, voice chat features, and more. Callum, I don't have to read one for what all these different blurbs, but you have this now on your phone. If you want to give me an idea of your first impressions with this new update to the app.
Yep, yeah, it's super user friendly, really modern, really innovative in the way it looks and the way you sort of navigate it. It's really, really nicely. Everything's really nicely laid out. It's just a really, really nice app to use. And beforehand there was an app for every single separate thing. Like there was a separate app for messages, a separate app for just your PlayStation. And all of these things, and they've combined everything so it's just one place. Really, really easy to for people who like to look at their trophies and look at other things like that. Really, really nicely laid out for that, and yeah, it's kind of like its own social media thing now, which I think is quite cool. I think why not have a social media side to the game console you play on. And yeah, I think they're going to really lean on this and try and incorporate it in many more ways because it seems like a lot of effort's gone into it. Um, Especially being able to message and voice chat and getting parties and all the new PS5 functionality and like I said to you before we started, they've updated all the icons to the new PS5 ones, which is exciting. I think that's me just clinging on to having something PS5 related when I
There
don't
you go.
actually have a PS5. So, but yeah, it's great. I think for an app that needed, a facelift, I think they've done really well. And Yeah, it's a cool little sort of companion to have.
Nice. Yeah, I'm excited to. I want to say I still have it on my phone. I need to update it, but it's been a while since I've honestly used it. So yeah, I want to jump into some of those features. I'm
Yeah.
definitely not gonna be using the voice chat because I don't talk to anybody on there. But if I can download my PS4 games a little faster from my phone, then
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
So, Cal, speaking of downloading faster, we got The Last of Us Remastered now loads extremely fast on PS4. This is James O'Connor of GameSpot has the details. One of the big selling points of Sony's PlayStation 5 has been the ultra fast loading from the system's SSD, which means that games will load extremely fast. However, some new patches for old games have shown that incredibly fast load times are now possible in some PS4 titles too, even with without an SSD. So VGC has reported that several older Sony titles have received updates recently, likely to prepare them for backwards compatibility. In comparison videos online, The Last of Us Remastered can be seen loading on a PS4 before and after the patch. It shows that the initial 90-second load has now been cut down to just under 14 seconds. Reloading a save file can take over 2 minutes in the pre-patch version, but now loads seem to hover around the 14-second point. Calum, how do you feel about this? I'm wondering tech wise how they're able to just kind of magically make this happen, and you'd have to imagine this is part of them working backwards compatible with those PlayStation Plus collection and just with game
Mhm.
boost in general. But this is working on PS4s. This is using just PS4 hardware and it's still running faster, so I'm wondering what's going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, it's amazing. I think it's a huge achievement, and I think for PlayStation get a lot of slack about their ability to not remaster, but be backwards compatible. So to go back to a game and just make it play better on the platform it was intended for anyway is it's incredible. And like you said, I have no idea how they've been able to do this. My PS4 runs horrendously bad. So I have no idea how they managed to cut down a loading screens by so much as well. I mean, normally like a couple of seconds is a huge shave, but to get it down from 2 minutes to 14 seconds is it's incredible. And I think, like you mentioned, I think this is a huge sign for the PlayStation Plus collection because if they can do this to Last of Us, then hopefully they're going to do it to all their other games that that they care about and that they want people to enjoy the best they can.
There were some outlets that were theorizing that maybe this tech has already been used with Tsushima because a Ghost
Mm.
of Tsushima
Mm.
was able to load almost eerily fast
Yeah.
on just the standard stock, hard drive. And I wonder
Mhm.
if people are wondering, were they using some of that compression tech or whatever that's going on behind the scenes in that? And is it something they can just go back and retroactively? Because it has nothing to do with the game engine. It seems like it's how the PS4 is reading, is writing data, is transferring that loading stuff. So there must be a way, in software wise in the code, they've been able to just make stuff become more efficient. So yeah, it's just a theory, but it just seemed like Tsushima, was able to load crazy fast, and maybe it's using
Yeah.
some of this tech.
Yeah, I mean, as we know, all the Sony first party studios help each other out all the time, and they're very, glad to share tips and processes. So maybe, yeah, Sucker Punch maybe uncovered a process that they were able to sort of implement into Ghost of Tsushima that allowed it to have such, excellent loading times and seem to be compressed really efficiently. And maybe they were able to share some sort of tech tips with Naughty Dog and or maybe it's just Sony in general, which maybe they were able to apply in a well, obviously they were able to apply in a patch. But yeah, I think that makes sense as a theory because yeah, Ghost of Tsushima was like more than noticeably supercharged in that respect. Um, so yeah, I think this is just brilliant. And again, it was very you know, under the rug. It wasn't they didn't make a big song and dance about it. So it seems like they're just very quietly confident and they don't feel like they need to be drawn into, making this a big marketing thing. There's
Right.
no they don't have like a name, a buzzword for this for this process. They haven't explained what they've done. They're just quietly working away and doing some really great stuff. So yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, I agree. There's no teraflops or anything, always on. There's no
Smart
buzzwords.
delivery.
Right, right. So we'll see how they handle that. Could blow up in their face, but
Yeah,
I don't think it
yeah,
will. It's not on
no,
track to, but
no,
it is a different
yeah,
approach for sure.
Yeah.
So, Callum, let's speaking of blowing up in our face, we got some unfortunate news over the week. Cyberpunk 2077 works on PC and next gen right now. Current gen may be the cause of the delay. So, before we get into this, yeah, it was delayed from November. Who's what's it? It was a couple weeks ago that this was supposed to launch, and it's now pushed back to December 10th. So that was the big thing in the news. But also, there's some maybe more folds on why this thing was delayed. So this is from IGN, Joe Screbbles of IGN there just mentioned that Cyberpunk 2077 is ready on PC and plays well on next gen consoles, with current gen versions currently being worked on after the game's most recent delay. CD Projekt Red also says there should be no knock on delay to the game's expansion. Speaking on a conference call after the game's delay to December 10th, reported by Pat Business, CD Projekt Red CEO Adam Kaczynski explained that there would be no further delays and that this most recent pushback was a different situation to previous release date changes. The game for PC is ready and plays well on next gen consoles, and the company is finalizing the process concerning current gen consoles. That suggests that current gen console performance was the reason for the delay, something IGN has heard independently from sources close to CD Projekt Red. How do you feel about this, Callum? This is a bummer because I know when this game was initially, I think for the first time shown off, I kept thinking, how is this going to run on current gen
Mhm.
hardware? And it seems like it's really pushed it to the limit with what they're trying to do, and it's unfortunate because I want this game to just be able to play with all the bells and whistles turned on. And if they're still trying to make this work on a standard PS4, standard Xbox One, it seems
Mhm.
like it's only going to hold it back. But how do you feel?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, firstly, I think, I mean, I don't mind when games get delayed. I think,
Yeah,
like most people, it's better than not doing it most of the time. But blaming it on current gen, I don't know. It doesn't seem like a valid excuse because I mean, this game's been in development for like 8 years. It was meant
it's
to
been a
come out
while.
in April. It's nothing new that current gen is going to be being developed for, especially not when it was initially, started. Optically, that doesn't look good. That they're this close to release after so many other delays, and they're still having issues getting it to current gen. They should have known. They should have known that, and yeah, I mean, communication doesn't seem like it's the best as well. With people saying there's absolutely no more delays, and then a day later it being delayed, and
Right.
um, so yeah, I mean, I don't doubt that they're working very hard, and and obviously it's not easy to make a game as ambitious as it looks, but I can see why people are frustrated. Obviously, the some of the stuff people are saying is, as usual, just ridiculous. Insulting and death threats and all this stupid
I'll
stuff.
never
But
understand that, and it's just so annoying.
yeah, there-
Yeah, like
there's a
what's wrong with your life where you think you have to
yeah,
go and give someone a
yeah,
death threat because your video game, your
yeah. I
toy
know,
isn't out yet? Come on.
right? I mean, like there's a way to voice your frustration, and I
Sure.
think people just need to sort of you know think about what they're saying, and also the context of making a game like this is I don't think anyone is at fault except probably the upper management and the production team who their sole job is to make sure that these things don't happen, and I mean whether or not they're working very hard on it and they're doing everything they can and no one's really done anything wrong, it is down to to have this many delays and this much poor communication this close to release date. That's down to the production team, and they'll know that they've maybe not delivered as best as they could have. But there's no point in aiming any insults or frustration towards the people working on it, because they're just human. They're trying to bring out this extremely ambitious game, and I'm sure when it comes out, it's going to blow people away. And the only
Right.
way it's going to do that is to have all these risks taken, and sometimes those risks don't quite pay off as you think they do. So, I mean, the game will come out eventually, but yeah, I think blaming it on current gen just doesn't really bode well to me, and I don't. I imagine there's probably issues on all systems, because I don't know why they couldn't have just delayed it on console, released it on PC. Um, I mean, I don't know whether that's there's an issue with their sort of contracts or anything with that, but
Mm.
I don't know if it's ready on PC, then why not just bring it out on PC and then I don't know. It's just one of those. There's lots of things you can be frustrated about, but at the end of the day, it's a very very ambitious game, and there's going to be these obstacles along the way.
Yeah, I think it's easy to think that, and that was my initial thought. It's easy to think that, oh, consoles, they're less powerful, the current gen ones.
Mhm.
That's what's holding it back. And I think you might be more right where it's a matter of production and behind the scenes and making sure they're fully optimizing their time and actually have, everything in line the way they are projected to be going. And that just might not be the case, and so they need more time.
Mhm.
You mentioned why not release it on PC. I would love that, but then I think there was a similar conversation with The Last of Us 2 when it was launching, and they were initially trying to wait because there was just the physical production aspect of the
Mhm.
discs, and we're in the heat of Corona then, and so they're saying, well, we don't want this launch to be lackluster or mismanaged or chopped into pieces, so we're going to wait until we have those discs ready to go. I wonder if it's a
Mhm.
similar kind of situation where we can release with PC for Cyberpunk, and maybe arguably we're going to have at least half or a majority of people playing it there as well. So maybe we wouldn't take much of a hit, but we want this to be just an across the board launch. We'd rather wait until everything's ready to go. All the
Mhm.
consoles, all the PC, even Stadia's in the mix too. So they want to make sure every version is ready to go. So maybe it's more of that. Just make sure their launch is coherent and it's on
Yeah.
every platform, day and
Yeah.
date.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's definitely a case for this. You don't want to alienate certain audiences and allow them to see spoilers and things like that. But I think multi-platform, for me personally, is a bit different. I think it's going to be released on multiple things. If it's ready on one, especially considering it's gone gold, I think if it's ready on one place, then just get it out because there are a lot of people who may have booked time off work or are very excited to play it, and
Yep.
you don't want everyone to suffer because of current gen issues, which is also why I don't think that is actually the reason. Because to make the entire audience have to wait because of a platform that they don't even own or they don't even play on it just sounds kind of strange to me. Um, and also, I mean, the next gen versions aren't even coming out till next year anyway.
I
So
think you're
they're
right. I think they
already,
still release, but they don't have like an actual next gen
yeah.
upgrade patch until later on.
Yeah, so I think they're already staggering this on certain platforms anyway. So I don't know. I think to me it seems it just doesn't really make sense with what they've used as the excuse. But then again, they also can't throw anyone under the bus. Not only because it's just not a nice thing to do, but also because as much as it probably is a production problem, I don't think those people deserve to be thrown under the bus because
Mm.
they can't make flawless decisions and perfect decisions on a game of this scope as well. There's going to be, like I said, there's going to be risks they have to take, and sometimes they won't pay off, and sometimes they will. So, um, I don't mind it's been delayed. I just think there are certain ways that maybe I think it could have been maybe handled a bit better. But what do I know?
Jump over there, get your hands dirty, and show them how it's done. Roll up those sleeves.
Yeah.
All right, Callum. Yeah, we'll end it there, man. We covered all that stuff this week. I'm sure they haven't snuckily announced anything right now, as they
Oh
usually
yeah,
do.
yeah.
But
I'm sure they probably have.
I'm cruising through. I don't see anything crazy.
Yeah.
But
No, nothing yet. No PS5 pre-orders or anything.
that's good. That's good to hear. You know what? I did wake up this morning and checked out the 3070 RTX 3070 pre-orders, and
Mhm.
same situation where they just sold out instantly, or even Newegg, a huge website, it just crashed right as soon as you
Yeah,
could start pre-ordering. So I'm
yeah,
like, oh, okay, yeah, it's more in line
yeah.
with what they could. And they kept talking these past 3 weeks about, oh, we're making more 3070s, we're gonna try and amp up production. They pushed the release date, I think, a week or two to anticipate or to build more of a stock, and the same exact thing happened. And so I think 5 people own all these RTX
Yeah,
who's it what's
right,
it.
yeah,
So yeah,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
just
No, I'm
annoying.
I'm happy I'm happy with my 2060 at the moment. He's performing well, so no reason to throw him in the bin yet.
I'll never be happy. I'll never be satisfied. So yeah. All right, Cam. Well, yeah, we'll end it there. Where can they find you online?
Twitter at Bear Monroe is where I spend most of my online time. So there.
Awesome. You can keep up with the show as well on Twitter at Plastic Heart Pod. That's it for us this week. We'll see you guys next week. Bye bye.
You're too late. I've already summoned Meteor.
Okay, let's go.